this winning up, we're going to have Monday morning press conferences over here all the time. So we excited about the weekend, or Thursday, Friday, to go to Brooklyn and play in a Legends Classic. I think there are going to be some fun things regarding some of our legends that we're going to see. Legends like Marquise Daniels or Charles Barkley, a couple of our great, former players. As this Auburn basketball team tries to make its own history. When we had the opportunity to go back and go to Brooklyn and play this tournament again, we knew that Notre Dame was in the field, and also St. Bonaventure. Playing Notre Dame in New York's like a home game for them, right? Because of all their fans in the East and alums. And St. Bonaventure obviously is in New York, and so we knew that while it would be a neutral site, there was a chance that we also could be in a hostile environment. And that's some of the steps of trying to develop our team. Every now and then you watch the film the day afterwards, and you usually get a different conclusion when we don't play very well while I'm coaching them. Watch the film and usually play a little better than I thought. Sometimes when I think we're playing really well, I go back and watch the film and go, God, we weren't very good. It's just unbelievable. So, a positive standpoint is I thought we made a lot of really good plays to hold Southeastern Louisiana to about 16 points in the first 14 minutes of basketball. It was really good. A lot of good coverage decisions. We had a lot of good one-on-one plays. We turned them over 11 times in the first half, which led to some offense. But in our first two games, our second half defense has not been as good as the first, and you guys are probably tired of hearing that, because that's been a constant for us over the last couple of years. Obviously, when the team is not right in front of our bench, they're on their own down the other end. We can't coach them up defensively, and yet the head coach also is farther away from the opponent to help his team offensively. In the second half, our defense is away from us, and their offense is sitting right in front of their coach, and he's able to, help them. So, whether it be ability to make some adjustments, the ability to overcome some fatigue, the ability to, to perform better defensively in the second half is something that we're working on. This has been a couple-year trend now, so gives certainly something we can improve on. Notre Dame, a historic program, historic university, great history and tradition, and this is the second time I've got an opportunity to play against Notre Dame, and the first time was in a first-round NCAA tournament game in Indianapolis, where we actually had we missed a tip-in, virtually a tip-in dunk at the buzzer to win the game.
Bruce, Shrewsberry now is first year at Notre Dame. What do you see out of his?
Give Rich a call. Tell Rich I'm on the phone.
What do you see out of his system? Obviously, took them to the tournament at Penn State last year, but now sort of
Yeah. So appreciate the question because it gave me an opportunity to talk about Micah Shrewsberry. So I've known Micah for years because he was on those Butler staffs, Brad Stevens, and he's an Indiana guy. So I was in Southern Indiana as my first head coaching job from 1993 to 2001, I think, and so our paths crossed. And then he worked for one of the greatest minds in the history of basketball, Brad Stevens. And then I watched his teams at Penn State play last year and went, oh my gosh, they're so good, so well coached. The stuff they run is really hard to guard. And that's the case it is right now. That's they run a lot of 5-out, a lot of pro stuff. And he's got a young team right now. He's got a couple of terrific young players that are going to be great as sophomores. They're really good right now. So it's one of the better young teams. But obviously because they are young, they're going to have some, they're going to have some growing pains. They beat a good Niagara team and lost to Western Carolina, an older team with great guard play. But Micah Shrewsberry is really, really good, and his son can really play. So he's going to do a great job. He'll do a great job at Notre Dame. Great fit.
Jacob?
Bruce, through 2 games, and as you get into these games coming up over the next couple of weeks, how much are you still rotating guys in and out and trying to figure out who a solid starting five is and kind of what your rotations are going to be as you get into conference play?
Well, I think what you do is you sort of let the players kind of play their way in and out of their roles, rotations, starting, finishing, and like I said from the very beginning, and it's still the case. Right now, we have 2 at every position, with Leor Berman being the 11th guy, and we were able to put a good player on the floor, whether it's Aiden and Trey at point, or KD or Denver at the 2, Chad or Chris Moore at the 3, Jalen Williams and Chaney at the 4, and then Janai and Dylan at the 5. That's it, and that's going to be the way it is. Now, what'll happen is we'll have an injury along the way. We'll have foul trouble, which we had against Baylor, and then all of a sudden you start then having to see other guys have to play more minutes based on those factors. So there could be some tweaks during the course of the season, but obviously what I like to do is I let the guys earn what they get through a period of practice and through a period of training, and I don't easily, I'm not easily. We're going to tweak the minutes, but it's not going to be something that's going to be all or nothing.
Bill?
Well, I was going to ask some of that, but more on the accommodations that you've got. You've got nobody playing 30 minutes. I wanted to get your thoughts on Chaney the other night. I mean, he really hit the boards well. Looked like he was a little tentative some offensively, and you guys were trying to encourage him offensively.
Man, interesting because I'd be curious now just how many shots Chaney got. I can't ever read these. But Chaney Johnson, can you tell me the shots he got, Marlene?
11.
14?
Yeah, he's 2 of 11.
Yeah, but
He was 0 for 8, and then he hit.
but he's got 14 shots. So and I think he had 11 in the last game. So you can't be very tentative if you're taking 11 shots. And I loved every one of his shots. Took good shots. So, and I don't want him to stop taking shots, especially when they're open. He's really athletic. He's a factor defensively. Been well coached defensively. He's one of our more physical players, but he needs to still be more physical and take advantage of that athleticism. And so, but we'd like him to, obviously be able to finish better. One of the concerns the other night was we had a lot of interior shots that were missed, and those are the shots we're trying to work hard to get those close touches that they've got to, we got to finish those. So whether it be Janai or Jalen, Chaney, I don't think Dylan missed a shot.
Hope?
Bruce, it's just 2 games in. Talk about Trey, Aiden, what you've seen from the point guard position, good and bad from these guys so far.
Well, they both need to do better defensively. They both, what's going to happen is obviously everybody got tape on everybody, and so not going to give any scouting report away, but Micah Shrewsberry is going to find a way to put Aiden or Trey in certain actions if he deems our 2 point guards to not be quite as good defensively as either Denver or Simo or Chad or KD. And so that's what's going to happen. So I'd like both of them, and they're both working at it. And so when you say that stuff, like it's not like necessarily they're not trying. They are trying. They both really work really hard at improving defensively. We just that's an area we need to grow in. And they both, obviously, are both really good scoring point guards. They can both really shoot the basketball. The question is, how does their team perform when they're on the floor? Do they make the other four guys better also offensively or defensively? And that's what you're trying to weigh. I think, Trey has started he started all fall. And he started our exhibitions and the first two regular season games. I thought that Aiden did what I thought he would do, but I had obviously wanted to see it. And so, again, they both can score it, they both can shoot it, they both getting an understanding of the offense. Whoever's out there more is going to be based on who makes the other four guys better.
Bert,
Bruce, you guys have been running a lot of 5-out stuff, and just putting the ball in Janai and Dylan's hands at the top of the key and going through them. So how much do you think that helps your offense, and how impressed have you been with those guys specifically? Doing some more of that kind of face-up stuff. But
Yeah.
I think Dylan had 4 assists against Baylor and turned the ball over this year.
Yeah, well, I think it's helped both of them. 5-out is something that we've always been 4-out, and we've gotten into some 5-out actions historically for a long, long time. Your traditional 5 in the middle of the floor, 5-out is something that's been in the NBA for a couple of years, been over in Europe, and everybody runs it. I typically don't like to run what everybody runs, but there were 2 factors involved in it. One was, as far as getting our guys ready for professional basketball, I kind of felt like I needed to have our team run some of that stuff because that's what they're running at the next level, and I've always believed in being a pro-style coach. And I also thought that it would both enhance both Janai and Dylan's ability. I thought they both had the ability to run that offense. And the third thing is it's the reason why everybody's running is it's really good. It's obviously very, very well spaced. It's dropped off our offensive rebounding percentage because obviously they've got 5 out on the perimeter and they don't have one in there. And oftentimes in my 4-out, 1 in, there's always backside rebounding responsibilities from an interior player. Dylan used to live in there, and he still has done a great job of going, to the offensive glass. But I think it's been a good compliment to our offense, and I'm pretty old and I'm pretty old school, and so it's hard to get me to change a ton. But I think we've adjusted, and we try to keep a real eye on, like right now, watching NBA, watching college, and watching European basketball. I've got some of my staff watching some of that stuff that's nothing to do with us. What's the latest, greatest stuff out there, and let's see if we can tweak it and find a way to put it into our system.
last question, Matt Cohen.
This, following up on that, is that kind of this change you've seen in your coaching style, so to speak? Is that, as we've seen Auburn just recruit at such a high level recently in basketball, is that something you're kind of pitching to some of these high level recruits and how I can get you to that next level a little bit?
Well, I think the one thing that's going to change about my recruiting is going to be with this rule change. And again, I don't mind stating it. We make a rule change and announce it at the start of the basketball season. Why don't you make a rule change and announce it at the end of last year so that we can recruit to it? And so I don't mind saying I actually don't like the rule change. So what they were trying to do was they're trying to cut down on the number of collisions, the number of block charge situations. And that is the secondary defender. The guy that's you have one guy on the ball and 4 guys are all considered secondary defenders because they're not guarding the ball. Their ability to rotate over and take a charge, they got to get there a lot sooner than they did last year because they got to be set when the offensive player plants his last foot on the ground. Before they could plant and then go up and go through the whole process, and you could still get there, and you had to get there before they left the floor. It's at least a second different, And so now what it's done is it's brought the driving game back and the one-on-one game back into the game in a huge way. So as I may have been designing advantage, disadvantage closeouts for shots, or we may be working on like our interior offense, posting guys up. Nobody throws the ball to the post anymore. Nobody has a post. Nobody. We've seen 3 opponents. Nobody threw the ball in the post yet, except we do. still because of Janai and Dylan and Jalen and some different players. But drive the ball to basket one-on-one, put your head down and just go take it. That's that's the rule change has brought that in. And so we're incorporating some of that. Some of that is one of the reasons why I think KD has been effective and playing really well. But so in my recruiting, if the rule changes, I'm going to start bringing in guys that will drive the ball to the basket and we'll all just play one-on-one out there. I don't think it's very pretty basketball.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Bruce.